welcome. So I don't know where the year went. Like it's already August and I don't know what happened. Well, I do know what happened, but I can't believe it happened because it has totally just passed me by. So I started this channel with good intentions and then things kind of got sidetracked. So I picked up an additional part-time job and it was kind of some shift work and nights and weekends and days and all around everywhere. And then I had some other with my regular job projects that came up and whatnot. And I totally lost track of time. And I, of course, started the channel with the best intentions, but that happens. But in the meantime, a whole half a year has gone by, and I didn't even realize it. So I did want to get you caught up on some of the best books that I have read this year so far. So I didn't pull all of my 4 and 5 star reads, but I did pull most of them. I think sometimes when you go back and look at your ratings, they don't always hit quite as hard as they initially did. So it's not that they necessarily, I don't know, star ratings are always, I think, hard for me because sometimes they have a bigger impact right after you finished. Sorry, my dog is bumping the table. Sometimes they have a harder impact right after you finish the book. And then sometimes it takes a little while to resonate with you. And you think about it for a lot longer, even though you might have rated it lower initially. So I didn't include all of my 4 and 5 stars. So don't go looking at my Goodreads and say, well, you didn't talk about this one. I know. But they just didn't, looking back, they didn't seem to hold the same weight that they initially had. So I didn't include those here. So I did include, though, let's see, 11 books. So I didn't even count how many I read the first 6 months, but I think a fair amount. It was less than, I think for the whole, let's see, I think currently I'm at 52 books and it's August 11th, I think. So I think I'm pretty well on schedule. It doesn't seem like I read as many. Well, maybe I am a little behind because if it's August, I think last year I read like 112 or 111, something like that. And then the year before, I think was just over 100. So I should be a little further along if I was to keep to that, but numbers don't really matter to me. So I think I put a goal out there on Goodreads and on Storygraph for 52 books for the year, just figuring that gives me at least one a week. So really anything over that is perfectly fine with me. Anything under that is perfectly fine with me, as long as I'm enjoying them. And I did enjoy quite a few the first half of the year, although if I just also posted my July wrap up. And if you have seen that, you'll know that July was not a great reading month. So, it happens. So hopefully August will be, I think we're already doing better in the month of August than July. So that's good. So let's get to it. So some of the best books that I've read this year, I'll do them in order of reading them, I think, for the most part. So initially, my first one was the Chateau by Kathrine Cooper, and I gave this one 4 stars. This is dual timelines, a couple bought a chateau in France, I believe, and they are from London. And then you have flashbacks to their life in London and things that happened there that then lead to them moving to France. And so this mystery is kind of unveiling itself along the way. And then there's current happenings at the chateau also that are mysterious, and you're trying to figure out if they're related or not. And I just really liked this one. Both timelines kept my interest. A lot of times one will you'll be more invested in one storyline than the other, but I really liked them both. So I do recommend reading that one. Then I read Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid. And if you've been around on BookTube at all, I'm sure you've seen this one because it's been very popular. In this one, there's a young Black girl who, I think it's her birthday, and she's dressed accordingly for a night out on the town with her friends. And she gets a call from her nanny or employer. She's a nanny or just a babysitter. I'm not really sure. It's been a while since I read it. But anyway, gets a call. There's something that came up in the middle of the night. And so she gets a call to go babysit the young girl. And it's in a white family. And she takes the girl. The emergency thing happened at the house. And so they want her to take the girl away from the house. So she takes her to the local grocery store. And it's late at night. And so I don't know, there's a something that draws attention to them, and it's videotaped. And then there's all these questions about why is this Black woman out with this young girl? And so yeah, there's just a lot of things that come up in it. And it's very interesting the way that it was told, and thought-provoking, and a really good read. Then I read Address Unknown by Kathrine Kressmann Taylor. And this is a short story, and it's written in letters back and forth between these two gentlemen were friends, and then World War II broke out, and one is Jewish and the other one is in the military, German military. And one is asking for some assistance from the other, and it's just these letters back and forth, and you just get the story from the letters. It was very well done. I really liked it, and I'd like to go back and read it again, I think, because I really enjoyed this one. And then I read Midlife Bites by Mann. And this was just sorry, my dog is on the table and moving. Just stay still. Lay down. So this was it's a nonfiction, not really memoir, but kind of, and just about the realities of midlife for women in general, and stories and situations that come up being a middle-aged woman. And I found it to be funny and real and honest, and just, I don't know, I just loved it. Let's see, I gave it 4 stars. And then through that, I did find that they have a Facebook page, and it just continues the discussion. Like, I mean, there's just so many great conversations on there, and funny things and honest questions that come up. Like, is this just me, or does this happen? Or, you know, I just have really enjoyed being part of that since. So then I read Agatha Arch is Afraid of Everything by Kristin Bair O'Keefe. And I gave this 4 stars. And this one was kind of funny because I just picked it up because her last name, part of her last name is the same as mine. And so I was like, oh, what a coincidence. I'm going to pick this one up. But I really liked it. It was if you have read Finlay Donovan is Killing It, or Finlay Donovan Knocks Him Dead, this is along those lines. It's just very funny. I mean, it's not so much the murder side of Finlay Donovan, but it's the writing style, the funny situations that she got herself into. It's just a really fun read, and I really enjoyed it. So that one is about Agatha Arch discovers her husband is in the shed with, is it the babysitter? I think. Kind of getting it on back in the shed, and she takes an axe to the shed and kind of has a little bit of a meltdown. And she, is just struggling with life in general from there. And she's part of a mom's like Facebook group, and she's the mom that everybody is kind of like, she's just the grumpy one and cynical, and and so all the moms are like, oh, Agatha, and things like that. But it's just really funny, and shows her, trying to, she wants to be friends, and she wants to get out of her shell, and she wants to face all her fears, but it's, just hard to overcome all of those. And it's just kind of her journey doing that, but in a very funny way. So I really enjoyed it. And then I read Good Omens, which I've watched the Amazon series and Amazon Prime series and loved it, and can't wait for season 2. So in the meantime, I read the book as well, which was very on track with the series. So I enjoyed that. Gave it 5 stars, which I assumed I would, considering how much I love the show. Then I read The Appeal by Janice Hallett. Not sure if I'm reading my writing right. I gave that one 5 stars. This one is also written, it kind of tells the story via emails through this theater group. And they're discussing a murder that has taken place, the potential suspects, and the motives behind it. There was a charity happening, a fundraiser to raise money for a child with, I believe, cancer. And the use of those funds and the raising, how that money was raised. And, but this all is unveiled through emails and letters and correspondence as such. So I really enjoyed the way that was, that story was delivered in that format. So I did listen to this on audiobook, and it was good. And once I got kind of all the characters down, it was great. But initially there were a lot of people in this cast, and there was one reader for the audiobook. So either I would have preferred a wider array of cast to read this so that you could differentiate between the characters better, or I probably should have read it on a hard copy so that I could kind of go back and because I think at the beginning of the book there was a list of the characters, so I could have gone back then and reminded myself who was who. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Then I read Finlay, Donovan is Killing It, and gave it 5 stars. And just to summarize that one, it's funny that it is so much like Agatha Arch is Afraid of Everything, because again, the husband, it's not the babysitter this time, but he is having an affair, and so they're getting a divorce. And Finlay she's a writer, and she goes to a coffee shop to meet with her publisher or editor or whatnot. And she's describing the plot of her book, and somebody overhears her at the next table. And the plot overhears the plot and thinks that Finlay is a hit woman. So wants to hire her then to kill somebody. And the funny situations and scenarios that she gets herself into from there, and trying to not commit a murder. But yeah, it's hilarious. So, and then this is out of order, but I did end up getting the next one in that installment with Finlay, Donovan Knocks Him Dead. Those are both by Elle Cosimano, maybe. And I gave the first one 5 stars and the second one 4 stars. The second one was good. I don't know, didn't seem quite as good. So, but it follows the same storyline. Then I read A Midlife Holiday by Cary J. Hansson. And I don't know why, but I seem to be having a theme, or I did at the first part of this year, with several of the books revolving around women in their midlife and like midlife crises, midlife things going on, and just like a new coming of age type of, into your midlife, those storylines. And this one was just fun too. It was a group of women, and they're all in different situations in their life. One has a parent that she's caring for, as well as I think an autistic child, and then another one is, I think she's got grown children, but is not happy in her marriage. They've just kind of faded. I mean, it's not that she's unhappy, but it's just she's not finding life rewarding in any aspect, and she's not sure where to go from there. And then another gal who has strived all her life for professional goals and achievements, and is now reflecting as to if she has lost out on more the personal achievements in her life, like marriage and children and things like that. So they all take a vacation together, and just the conversations that they have and whatnot are just, I don't know, they were really inspiring and heartwarming, interesting, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I gave that one 4 stars. Did I say that? Then I read 56 Days by Kathrine Ryan Howard, and I gave that 4 stars. So this one is at the beginning of the COVID breakout, and this woman, young woman and gentleman meet, and they start dating. It's fairly early on in their relationship, but they like each other enough that they want to go ahead and quarantine together. And this is set in, is this in England or Ireland? I think they're from Ireland, but they're in England. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, so flash forward, because there's kind of a dual timeline when I think we start out at the end when one of them is dead. And then you kind of go back to the beginning of the story where they're meeting, and then it just kind of flashes back and forth as to their storyline and what progressed. Plus, there's an additional timeline from a history of when they were very young. So it's just very, very intense. And as you're learning things, it's, sorry, dogs everywhere. You good? Okay. So, yeah, it was just very intense, constant page turner. Couldn't put it down. I really enjoyed it. So anyway, those are most of my 4 and 5 stars for the first half of the year. So let me know if you've read any of these or what your thoughts are on any of these. What were your favorites for the first half of the year? Because I'm trying to now round out what I want for the second half of my year, and trying to get all my my lists done. And it's trying to whittle out what isn't going to get done and what needs to get done. So let me know if there's any that you read that you think I need to fit in before the end of the year. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.